Yo, what is going on, guys? Xcanimo here again with another cube defense video for you guys today. Today, guys, we're going to be going over a beginner's guide to the Sun Temple. So for more advanced players out there, you should know everything in this video. This video is just aimed towards those people that have just unlocked Sun Temple and don't really know how to use it. So after watching this, hopefully you do. Okay guys, so to begin with, we're going to go over the most important things to know about the Sun Temple. Okay, so number one is when you upgrade the Sun Temple to its max level, it will eat any towers in a radius around it. So these stars, for example, once I upgrade this to max, it eats the stars. Now the reason that it does this is it eats other towers to make itself stronger. So as you can see, its damage is 15. If I hadn't put anything around it, it would have been 1. Which leads me on to the next point with Sun Temple, which is you have to feed it. Similar to balloon style defense, you have to feed your Sun Temple to get it really high damage. So some good towers for feeding are stars, for example. So all you'd have to do is put your stars around the temple, or put your temple around existing towers. And what you want to do is, if you see on the tower right here, you can see that it has a temple gain value at the bottom. What you want to do is make sure that you feed this temple at least 1000 temple gain to get its max damage. So these stars here give it 30 each. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more down and upgrade them a little bit. So let's see, a max star gives 150 temple gain. So to get that to 1000, let's get a couple of these down, like so. And then with these little stars, that should add up to 1000 temple gain right here. So if we go ahead and max our temple now, as you can see, it'll eat these stars. And 120 damage is the max damage for a Sun Temple without the Mark II. So you guys are probably wondering, like, how it eats the towers around it, how far away it eats the towers around it. Now this brings us on to the next important thing that you need to know, and that is its sacrifice range. So as you can see right here, I'm going to go ahead and put two temples next to each other. So this temple has 20 range. So the way that the sacrifice works is anything in its range, it will be eaten. Now this isn't necessarily 100% true, but we'll go more into that in a second. So you guys are thinking this one has 20 range, and this one has 24 range, so this is going to eat more towers. Now this isn't true, guys. This is a very common thing that people don't understand about the tower, and I'll explain why. So if you see here, Holy Blessing, so we got a level 4 temple right here, and the range is 30, so everything in this range will get eaten by the temple when you upgrade it. Now notice how this is just about covering the middle of the tower, which means it will be eaten. So if we go ahead and move a Sun Temple over here, for example, and we put a campfire on it, its range goes up to 33. Now this doesn't mean that this Sun Temple here is going to eat more than this Sun Temple over here. The sacrifice range is always going to be 30, always. So don't worry about that, and especially with Mark II as well, when you put down a Sun Temple Mark II, obviously it gives the Sun Temples more range. So even though it says it has 41 range, its sacrifice range is still always going to be 30. So it will not eat this star here, even though it is in its range, as you can see, it will not eat it. And that is because it is not in its sacrifice range, which again is only 30. Doesn't matter if you add a campfire, doesn't matter if you add a Sun Temple Mark II into the mix, it is always going to be 30. Okay guys, so let's actually go into feeding the Sun Temple, like the best ways on how to get your Sun Temple max damage. Now I'm going to be going over a couple towers in a moment that you're really good to feed your Sun Temple. A lot of good players out there might say that these aren't the best towers, and that is 100% true. There are a lot better towers out there, but just for those people that are starting out and they don't really know how to feed it, these are a couple towers that you might have that are really good to feed. So number 1 is the Railgun, number 2 is the Rail Mini, and number 3 is the Star. Now these 3 towers are really good to feed the Sun Temple, not only because they have quite high temple gain when you level them up, but also because they're not too expensive for how much temple gain you get out of them. So as you can see, a railgun and a rail minigun, when you max them, give 125 temple gain, and a max star gives 150. So you're going to need less stars to max out your temple than you would railguns or rail miniguns. But just make sure that when you're upgrading your temple that you have enough food around it. If you don't overfeed your temple too much, so don't give it like 10 stars and 10 rail miniguns and 10 railguns, then your temple will do more damage than the sacrifice that you give it. So don't worry about your towers being taken, guys. This Sun Temple will cover it all by itself. Some people out there might be questioning whether Sun Temple is actually a good tower because it eats the towers around it. And I just want to go ahead and say that Sun Temple by itself has the most DPS of any tower in the game. Now, that is with all 5 of them. If you have 5 max Sun Temples down with a Sun Temple Mark II, which we will go into in a moment, you'll have over 9,000 damage every single second just from these Sun Temples, which is an insane amount. To put that into perspective, 10 max railguns only give you 800 DPS. So 5 temples giving 9,000, that's insane, guys. It's a tower that you do not want to miss out using. Okay, now let's go into the Sun Temple Mark II. This isn't really a beginner part of the video, so if the new players in here want to skip out on this part because you don't have this tower, that's perfectly fine. But if anyone's interested in what this does, then stick around and we'll get right into it. Alright guys, so the Sun Temple Mark II, essentially what this tower is, it is a buff tower to all the Sun Temples in its range. So it has really high range, not always like entire map range, but it has really high range. As you can see here, at the moment this Sun Temple Mark II is giving this temple right here 10% damage. It's doing 11 instead of 10. Now if we go ahead and upgrade it now, you can see it adds 25 range. So this temple's range is now 25 instead of 20. We can go ahead and upgrade it again. And now you can see it has minus 15% upgrade price. So it is now cheaper to upgrade this temple than it was before. Upgrade it again. Just a bit more damage and a bit cheaper upgrade price, and then we'll max it, and as you can see guys, so it gives it 50% damage plus 35% range, and it makes it 30% cheaper. Now if we put a campfire down, we can see that the campfire only gives minus 15% upgrade cost. So if you're playing a game and one of your friends has Sun Temple Mark II, it is usually a really good idea to have this down before you start working on like 2 or 3 Sun Temples. Usually how me and my team do it, we get 1 temple down maxed, then we get a Mark II up, and then we start working on the rest of the Sun Temples. Alright guys, and my final tip for you today, all those beginners out there that have just got Sun Temple, you want to think about where you're going to put them, like in the map. So on this map for example, it's not too much of an issue because the map's really big. But on small maps like Waterfall, you really need to think about where you're going to place your Sun Temples. Because, let me put it in a scenario right now. So let's say I have a teammate, and they're working on their OCs right here, and I have a Sun Temple right here. What I'm going to just do is eat all of their OCs, and that's going to leave us with no Sun Keep defense. Because remember guys, Sun Temples cannot hit Sun Keeps. So you need to make sure you balance your Sun Keep defense and your non-Sun Keep defense, being the temples. So make sure that you put your Sun Keep defense away from your temples as much as you can. On smaller maps you might have to eat your Sun Keep defense just to fit all 5 in, which is perfectly okay. Don't worry about that guys, but just make sure that you separate your Sun Temples and your Sun Keep defense, otherwise you'll end up leaking to Sun Keeps. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe as always. If you guys do have any questions about this video, anything you would like to know, or any other tips you would like to see, please be sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and subscribe if you did enjoy and you want to see more cube related content. As always guys, stay awesome, stay kind to one another, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.